everyone, and welcome to the Lizard Brains podcast. I'm your host, DJ Alessandrini. I'm joined by my co-host, Tom O'Gorman. Tom, how's it going?
Hello.
Hello.
I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Had a nice, relaxing weekend, playing in the woods, enjoying some Lazy Susan rafting. Wait, Lazy Susan, that's a thing in the kitchen where you like spin stuff, isn't it? Yeah.
Lazy river.
Some lazy river rafting. There were some rapids, and those were indeed fun. But if anything, Tom, the trip enlightened me that there's like this whole world where there's like all these like hobbyists where their hobby is just being outdoors and doing stuff outdoors, and like it involves kayaking and tubing and mountain biking and hiking and camping and all this stuff. And it's just like every weekend is just filled with like nature stuff. Cause our raft guide was like, he was like super into it and he talked about it a lot.
In case you missed it, DJ went whitewater rafting this weekend. That's what he's talking about. I was going to ask you first, are you sore? Were you sore?
No. Well, I was sore.
No, not physical.
We went on a 24-mile bike ride. We got on a bike path. So there's this like, apparently there's this bike path that goes from Pittsburgh all the way to Washington, D.C. And we went on the bike path and we rode to like the next town and got lunch and then rode back. But that was 24 miles. So it was like 12 miles there and 12 miles back. I haven't ridden a bike in a while. So there's like certain muscles in your butt that like sit on the seat. And oh my goodness, that was the worst part. My legs were fine. My cardio was fine. Everything was good. My butt was on fire from this stupid bicycle seat. It was, dude, it was bad.
I had the exact same problem when I lived in Wisconsin. There was it was like a 30-some mile circle in my town. And I actually bought a bike when I moved there, and I thought like this will be kind of a fun thing that I could ride my bike to the store, to ASM. I could ride to the trail, and then I could do the trail. And I decided to do it one day. And when I was at the exact furthest point from my apartment was when my butt muscles and butt like whatever that is, the inner being sat on was like nope, done.
Yeah,
and it was torture to get back. It was horrible. And like you said, cardio fine, leg muscles fine. Everything about it is fine. I'm just like, can I please get some other part of like me to support my weight? My God.
Dude, I would pedal hard and then like side saddle it, like where like my thigh was on the seat, and I'd just like sit there and coast for a little while. Yeah. And poor Christine, she was like gassing out, and I was like, what is going on? Like, cause normally Christine does better than me in like these physical things. And she's like gassing out, and I was like, something's up. So we traded bikes, and her bike was so draggy. She had to like pedal hard the whole time, and I'm just coasting around, like hardly pedaling. And so I rode her.
Damn.
Yeah, dude, she was wasted by the end of it. But I rode hers for like, I don't know, the last like 4 miles or whatever, maybe not even. And I was like, okay, I'm freaking whipped after like these 4 miles of this like super draggy rental bike. Christine doesn't have a lot of experience on like bikes, so we ride away from the rental bike place, and she thinks it's like, oh yeah, it's a bike, whatever, it has 2 wheels. But I kind of wish I would have rode it and been like, nah, something's up with this thing. Like you shouldn't have to pedal all the time. It should coast basically, especially when you get to like a slightly downhill section. You should be able to just like hang out and chill. So
did the whitewater rafting hit any? This is your first time, right?
Yes, this is my first time.
Did it hit any lizard brain for you ever, or is it like a totally different genre of activity for you? That outdoorsy stuff you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, so speaking of the lizard brain, there's like a combination of me losing my mountain bike on the way from Spring Nats and going like, I kind of want to replace that, because like 12, 13 years ago, I used to mountain bike all the time when I lived in Michigan. There was just nice trails in Michigan, so that was like the thing I did like after work or before work or whatever, is I would take the mountain bike and go like ride some trails. And then when I first moved to Ohio, I would do that too. I would actually like travel for work, and I'd throw like my bike in the back of the truck, and then wherever I ended up for work, I would go mountain biking. So I lost that mountain bike because it escaped on the way home from Spring Nats. It just jumped off the trailer. Nobody knows what happened to it. Um, some people
It'll be
have,
starring in a Pixar movie in the future.
yes, some people have a theory that it definitely didn't cause chaos on the highway and somebody got a really nice bike. And that's the theory we're going with. And so I've been like looking up mountain bikes, and it's like they've changed a lot in the last like 13, 14 years. And it is a whole rabbit hole. And you know what, Tom? It's the same flavor of like nerd energy when you start getting into the nitty gritty of bikes. That is like the same. It's like the same as motorsport stuff. Like the people who are like super nerdy, like tend to like really get into the weeds of like these parts
Sure.
and this thing and that tire pressure and this and that. And it's literally the same. It's literally the same, Tom. You can get a $500 bike or you can get a $14,000 bike. And it just means that there's more nerd shit on it. Like that's all that means. That's all it means. And I'm sure there's a sweet spot in there somewhere, but I haven't been able to find it. So yeah, so Bill says that this is basically any activity. Yes, it is. But I when we do like some exploring in these like other activities, it's kind of fascinating, like what people spend their energy on, because it's the exact same energy as us in motorsports. Like we spend our energy on all the little details of these things, and it kind of puts perspective on somebody trying to get into motorsports and how much they don't know. Like I didn't know that tubeless tires were a thing. Do you know that? Do you know what I'm talking about, Tom?
Vaguely, but honestly, this is the type of stuff that I bounce off of. So I'm more curious if the activity itself lit up the dopamine chasing lizard than the nuts and bolts stuff.
I don't think whitewater rafting.
You know, the stim rig pissed me off. I think I
Yeah,
would throw
yeah.
my bike over a cliff if I had to deal with that.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. I don't think the whitewater rafting like pulled me in as like oh my God, I need to like do that again. Unless I'm planning to go do another river that's supposed to be way more intense than this last one. There were some moments where if those moments were like 15 minutes long or 20 minutes long, I'd be like, damn, I could see me really enjoying this. But the thing is,
Yeah.
it was like 10 seconds of like, woo, yeah, like, oh my God, this is awesome. Like, wow, me paddling when the guide is telling me to and doing it well actually matters. And like, that was fun. Because you felt
Sure.
like you had to like lock in a little bit, because you're like, okay, we don't want to get stuck on this rock. Like I better like go for it, right? That felt fun because you had to lock in. I think the needing to lock in is like part of what is necessary to like really like grab me and like pull me into it. So I'm hoping to do a more intense river, and we'll see how that goes. It didn't feel dangerous at all at any point. It was kind of like, oh
Sure.
yeah, it was like worst case scenario, I fall out of the boat and I like go for a little bit of a ride, and maybe I bounce off some rocks. Like that would probably suck, but I didn't feel like I was going to die.
Yeah. I remember I remember it being similar. We went, like I said last week, with a group when I was in maybe early teens. It was kind of like a Boy Scout trip, I think, with my brother. And like you just when you go with a group like that, you just assume nothing bad's gonna happen, and it's just like you're along for the ride almost as a kid, right?
Yeah.
I'd be curious to do it again as an adult.
Yeah. You want to go?
What was the biggest drop you went over?
I have no idea.
you know?
Mean, maybe like a couple feet.
Oh, come on. You didn't go over any like 5 or 6 foot drops or anything?
I think the guide said one time that there was a 5-foot drop. I'm not sure. There isn't a hilarious picture because we bought all the pictures afterwards. There's a hilarious picture of it's me. It was me, Christine, and then a father and son. That's who was in the boat, and then the guide. Right? There's a hilarious picture. We're all like crashing down like a waterfall or whatever, and all of our faces is like, ah ha ha ha, this is so much fun. And the guide the guide was locked in, Tom. You could see it in his face. He was like super serious in his face and his arms are all flexing. And it's like, oh man, he was saving us from something right there. But none
Yeah,
of us had an idea. Like none of us knew. None of us knew at all. We were just like, wee. Yeah.
yeah. He's literally carrying the ship at that
Oh,
point.
absolutely.
That's
I
funny.
even called him over after. I'm like, okay, we're obviously having a lot of fun, but like you're locking in. Like, what were you doing in here? And he's like, I was saving our asses. And I was like, okay, well, thank you, Andy. I appreciate that. Like,
Yeah.
but
I wonder what he had to do. Like, what could you as one single person possibly be in control of in this giant dinghy in a rapids with everyone else just not doing anything helpful? I want to know. I'd be very curious. Like, is he steering it?
I
Is he
think he's
slowing it
steering.
down?
Yeah, well, it might be a mix of both because to steer it, you kind of have to either go forward or backwards. So he
Yeah.
might have been like aggressively going backwards to try to have the current take us to the right place instead of us like barging into a rock
Sure.
or something.
Sure. Yeah.
It was kind of hard to tell exactly where we were with the context of the picture just because there was just so much like splash coming up. It was honestly, I'll have to find the picture and post it in here. And when I say in here, I mean the Discord, where we have a live audience right now. And if for some reason you didn't know that, that was it. We never really talk about it anymore, so I feel like we should. We have a Discord. It's in the description. Click on it. Come hang out with us. Thanks. Okay, so
Over 800 strong now, by the way.
over 800. Dang, we passed the 800
A lot of
mark, and I
people.
didn't even notice.
I'm
But-
with you on the outdoorsy stuff to finish that thought. When
Yeah.
you mentioned that, there's a whole bunch of people that just do that. The same way that I wish I read books, I wish I was a person that lived that sort of lifestyle because it looks so
Rewarding.
fun and rewarding and fulfilling. And like,
Yep.
I remember when we were in Europe, you could just tell it was like we were hiking on a Tuesday and there were locals that were just hiking on a Tuesday
Yeah.
up these incredible mountains that we traveled across the world to see because it's in their backyard. And
Yep.
same thing with one of my favorite influencers on YouTube is a couple that lives on this island called Svalbard, which is in the Arctic Circle up north of like Scandinavia, basically. And it's the largest town or the largest island with a population of more than 2,000 people. So it's like way remote. You have to get there by boat or plane, whatever. And their whole lifestyle is that they just like sometimes to take a shower, they have to go boil water, boil or melt snow. They
Yeah.
just go outside and they melt snow to make water for themselves. And that's what they bathe with. And they snowmobile this time of year and they go on their boat this time of year and they go hiking this time of year and they ski at this type of year. It's like, man, that looks so fun. But I know I'm an indoor cat. I'm just going to sit inside. I know I am. So like I've tried it before and I know that I just default back to like hanging out inside.
Yeah.
Or like somewhere where it's just pretty to look and sit. It's just not my natural state. I wish it was.
Yeah.
I think it's more you're in Christine's natural state is definitely more outdoor and adventure-y.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I'm definitely down for adventures, but I'm also just down for like new things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like this impending, like the sands of time are just like ticking away, and we only experience this life once, and I just want to do like all the things, but then at the same time, I can't pick what I'm obsessed with. So it's
I
racing.
think we know.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
racing. Just spoiler alert, right? But like there's still these other things that I want to experience, and if like I can experience those things in like the benefit of racing, then that works. So like all this outdoor stuff is just physical, and the better shape you're in, the better you feel, the better your brain works, the better like everything like works for you. And like these things are just like a way to be active and have it be fun. That's part of the reason why I'm like looking at these mountain bikes is I'm trying to like find a way where it's like I can have exercise be a little bit more fun. Like right now I a couple times a week I do like what I call a 1 mile struggle. I don't know if I've talked about this on the podcast.
You mentioned it quickly.
Okay, yeah. So it's a 1 mile struggle. So like I literally just go out and run a mile like right when I wake up, and it sucks and it's a struggle, but I feel better afterwards. Like I'm like, okay, cool, I'm awake and like we can do this. It's literally like I wake up and then 10 minutes later I'm running. It's probably not actually probably all that good for me, but it's like something that like makes me do the thing, right? And doing the thing is really hard. So that's why I was like looking at the the mountain bikes because I was thinking if I can make this fun, then like maybe
Yeah.
maybe this won't suck so hard. But then I was talking to Tamra, and she was like, "Oh, like you have to set a goal or whatever." So she brought up a Spartan race, and so now apparently I'm doing a Spartan race the weekend before Solo Nats. So this is a call out for anybody who wants to join us. It's the Philadelphia Spartan race. It's in the stadium, like the I don't know, probably where the Eagles play or some other sports team. It's in a stadium in Philadelphia. I don't know which one it is. Um, and the Spartan race is like it's basically like a Tough Mudder. It's like we're just gonna do
Sure.
the 5K, and it has like 20 obstacles or whatever, which is just like monkey bars and like walls to jump over and like stuff like that. But the thought is all right, I have this impending thing that I have to do, and I want to be able to do it, so that should help motivate like exercise to happen because it's like an impending like well, I'm not going to not be ready for that thing, so like I have to do it. So, if you also want that motivation and that impending doom or thing to like motivate yourself to just be in better shape when Southern Nats comes around, then join us in Philadelphia on August 29th.
Pass.
Bill says DJ's going to break himself right before Nats. Maybe, but like if I train properly, I should be like it should be fine. I should just be able to do the thing and be like, woo, that was fun, and then go race at NER the next day. So
Are you gonna go? Are you gonna show up to Solo Nats all muddy?
yeah, I'm not taking a shower until I win. It's like
Ew. Well, I love that for you. I love the motivation. I wish I could relate to wanting to do any of this stuff.
I don't want to do it. I just feel like it benefits my
I get you.
goals. Yeah. I don't want like I definitely don't want to. That's why I'm like trying to troubleshoot a way to like want
so
to do it.
You're making a goal for something you don't want to do.
Yeah.
That's what I don't understand. Why? I guess I know why, but it sounds
you sign up for the thing, you make the commitment to others that you're going to do the thing, and then you feel like that's where the motivation comes from. It's like an obligation. It's like when you clock in for work in the beginning of the day and you get to work, it's like you don't want to do those things, but if you have an obligation from some kind of like arrangement,
someone with money.
Yeah, or some I mean, yeah, like
giving you money.
Getting paid definitely helps clock in the morning, but it's also it feels more like an obligation that like a promise that you made either to like the team that you work with or whatever that you were going to clock in and lock in, right? Like so like it's like part of the bargain. So if you make an obligation in the future to do a thing, then especially if you're doing it with others, so like if you want to come do it with us, then like tell us and we'll hold you accountable and like we'll all be there and we'll all do it. And I don't know how the groups work or whatever, but like we'll all commiserate in our own misery together and accomplish a thing together. So
Woo.
We'll see how that goes.
Well, I'm glad you had fun this weekend. I did commentary for the June sprints all weekend. We had 18 races, 9 different race groups. They did a 25-minute race and a 13-lap race, which was like 32 to 40 minutes, depending on the group, plus qualifying for all of those groups. And luckily, we only did one round of qualifying, not both. Okay. But it was a long 3 days. But what my favorite thing about this, and this is something that's very uncommon for activities for me, and maybe it relates a little bit to this, but as it was going on, there were times where it was like, man, this is slow. Or like, this race group could use a little bit of like actual like fighting and racing and stuff like that instead of just lapping or whatever. But at the end, when we wrapped up the final day, it was like, oh, I want to keep doing this. I want to keep going. This is fun, So it was a really good weekend in that sense. But it's definitely a lot of talking and a lot of long days. Three long days, but whatever.
Right, because not every single moment of that is like the thing you want to be doing right in that moment. But when the racing gets good, you're like, all right, there is literally nowhere else I'd rather be right now. But that can't be all the time.
Well, even still, I think part of the fun of it is you don't know what's going to happen at any given
Ooh,
moment.
yeah, yeah.
So even the races, for example, the race that I think the group that was maybe the least like sit up on your seat and like get up against the TV and be like stoked was um the first race for the Formula group, which was Formula Atlantic, Formula Continental. They had really good races. The top 2 and 3 were within each other, within, sight of each other the whole time, within like a second of each other for the most part, but they never passed each other. It was just like following each other around. But you never know when something could happen. So you like my whole thing is like I want to put someone in the car there, or I want to make someone appreciate what's happening right now in a
Yeah.
way that they don't, because they've never done this before, or they think the same thing that I just described, where it's like, man, this race is kind of boring. But in reality, it's not. So I feel like I try to put myself in those shoes. But there were a couple things that happened throughout the weekend that I thought would be interesting talking points for the podcast, slash
Okay.
like what would you do in this situation, slash what do you think of this happening, kind of thing.
Okay.
So the first take that I have from the weekend is that these big pro racing tracks, the slack is gone. I know people probably know that, but the slack for like the margin for error that they're willing to give you being the driver, the organization, the operator of the event, whatever, is not there anymore. Simply not there. And it is still there at some smaller racetracks, like in contrast to when we did our event at Hallett like 2 months ago. They were doing hot pulls. They were letting cars stay stranded on the side of the track for, if it was kind of seemingly okay.
Yeah.
Versus Road America, Road Atlanta, VIR, these tracks, boom, yellow flag, boom, red flag, boom, black flag. Like they shut it down. They do not tolerate it anymore. And I think that club racing and track day organizations or whatever, specifically club racing, needs to push drivers to understand that and respond better, because we had so many full course cautions come out because the safety crews started to respond to something that was like a broken down car or whatever, and all of a sudden they were upset with how fast people were driving by, or they were upset with how close people were driving to the safety trucks or whatever, and they would just go full course yellow. Like it's required by the track. You don't get a choice. It's not SCCA's choice,
Yeah.
whatever. And as I'm doing more and more commentary, I'm watching it happen from the outside, and I don't know how often people realize that why the flags come out that way, or like what the circumstances are around something like that. But I think it's time for all of the organizations as a whole, like all of everybody, to acknowledge like these tracks are not giving you any sort of margin anymore, and we have to like start behaving differently in a way. Have you seen any of this? Or it's been a little bit since you were club racing, but does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It reminds me a little bit of some clips that Raul was sharing in the Discord of like just some poor behavior where it's
Well,
like,
sure, I'll get there to that.
okay, you'll
But
get
so
there.
my
Okay.
question was going to be, what would you say to, or what do you think some like ways to tell drivers to behave are?
See, I feel
Because
like,
I'm having a really, really hard time. Like, if the more you try to put a rule to it, or the more you try to put a like definition to how to drive around safety vehicles, or how to avoid full course cautions because of safety vehicles or
yeah,
whatever, the more muddy it becomes.
yeah. I
And I
feel like,
haven't figured out like what would I say to a group of drivers if I was their race director, and it's like, this
hmm,
is a reality. This is what will happen if we don't act right. So here's how you act right.
yeah. Well, first of all, I think that you're really good at setting the tone for stuff like this when it comes to like an event or an organization or something like this. Like, I think you have so the fact that you're a little stumped is kind of surprising to me, because normally like you just like I'll feel stumped and then you'll say something and I'm like, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, however Tom just worded it, that like whatever Tom said. But I think you would have to say almost like uh don't don't give them the impression that they're in danger, right? Because that's why they do it. Like, that's the root cause, is they're like, okay, we just have to shut this down because like I'm going to go home to my family after today. Like, I'm going to make sure that like I get home, right? So if at any point they don't feel like that, then that's when the like the full course caution has to come out. So maybe like it's not so much a rule, but a tone set. Like, if you make these safety workers feel like they're in danger, you ruin it for everyone, right? So,
Yeah.
and and like maybe you can't enforce like who's the one that made them feel like they're in danger or whatever, or like you can't enforce that. But I think what you can do is you can set the tone of like, make sure these people know that they're not in danger. Like whether that involves like giving them a wave as you go by, or like maybe you like acknowledge them, like something where when they look over, they see that you have the bandwidth and the headspace to understand that you're not putting them in risk, right?
Yeah.
Because they didn't sign up to be put into risk. They signed up to help the races continue. You're the race car driver. You're the one that signed up for risk, right? They're not participating in your shenanigans, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think you would just have to do it with a tone. I don't think you could actually write like a rule for it because one, people are always going to play to the edge of like a quote unquote rule, and playing to
Exactly.
the edge of the rule will just make the safety workers feel like they're in danger. So
Yeah. How do you feel about like virtual safety car stuff? Because I agree with you that without risking more chaos, you can't really put like words or rules to it. The first rule I thought of was like you have to stay within a half a car width of the opposite side of the racetrack from where the safety trucks are. Like that's a pretty black and white
you could, but then
ish
people are
type.
going to
But
be
then
slithering to get to that spot, and
exactly.
and
So
then
it's
they
like,
still
man,
feel
this
like
gets
they're in danger. Yeah,
right.
the root cause is the safety personnel feels like they're in danger, probably because they are, uh, and they shouldn't have to feel like that.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. So there's some discussion about, I mean, this is SCCA specifically, but I think it's pretty plausible for all orgs at this point to use a local virtual safety car with a speed limit in that section of the racetrack, which I struggle with because getting people in and out of that speed zone is really, really hard. Like, in my opinion, competitively in an environment on a racetrack, there's always one person who's like not doing it effectively enough. There's always
yeah,
one person who slows down too early or takes off too late or like whatever. Like getting in and out of that speed zone really frustrates me from a lizard's perspective.
yeah. Well, because it would have to be. I think if you do like a Flagtronics like code 60 or code 30 or whatever, I think the rules would have to be a little bit more like, okay, from 5 seconds after you get the notification, if you're not going the speed, then like you get a penalty, um and if you cause an incident because you missed it and there was a stack up in front of you, then you're just out of the organization. Like you're just out. Right. So like,
Right.
because like that's the risk you run, and then like that's the card you can play as the driver. You're like, well, I'm not going to slam on the brakes. Like there's people behind me, right? And then they're not slowing down because they're like, well, there's some wiggle room in this Flagtronics like 60/30 code whatever rule, and it's like,
Yeah.
well, I'm not going to slam on the brakes. There's somebody behind me. So then all of a sudden there's just a bunch of people behind you also not slamming on the brakes, and everyone just meanders down to an eventual 60. And the slower you actually do that, the more advantage you get. Like it's the feedback loop isn't correct to actually create behavior that's safe.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kelsey in the chat made a good point. I don't like it for replacing full course yellow. I totally agree. That frustrates me to like never have a full course yellow and only just neutralize the field by making them all go a certain amount of speed. But in every organization so far, WRL, Lucky Dog didn't have them, did they? Did Lucky Dog have a Flagtronics in the car? Do you remember?
No, I don't think they did.
I don't think they did, but Champ Car and WRL both use it now. And you're right. It's just like the code 60 comes out and then you just sort of get to that speed as slow as possible, meaning you stay going as fast as possible for as long as possible to like
Yeah.
cheat the whole system. And everybody's doing that. So as long as you're not the one doing it the worst, it's fine.
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't know, complicated topic. But okay, so to my point, for jumping off from this point, you said that the people didn't ask to be in danger. These people are like out of the trucks on the side of the track. They're responding to somebody else. I've been in most of those situations. I'm like, come on, you freaking weenies. You know, like for the most part, like I've either been on the racetrack when I've heard that they're mad about it. I'm like, we were all being fine or something.
Yeah.
But this weekend, to their point,
Yep. And they don't know
the worst offender of the entire weekend. Go ahead.
they like you were all being fine, but it might have looked very similar to an instance where it was not fine.
Right. So that's the hard part. And this weekend, there was a race group there was a local yellow with a car stuck in the gravel at turn 1. And the top 10 of the race group came in to that corner, having seen the yellow flag for as long as you can see it from the front straight down at turn 1. And of the 10, somehow 3 of them hit each other and one of them got stuck in the gravel trap with the other car that the safety crews were already responding to.
Oh my
And it's
God.
probably the most irritated I've ever been while I'm commentating a thing, and
How
I'm
did it come?
trying so hard. If anybody watched it, actually tell me how I walked that line, because I want to be honest, and I
Yeah.
also want to be. I like blunt commentators for the most part. I'm okay being the blunt commentator, but I don't want to cross a line.
Yeah.
So I was definitely like, so I just could not believe, like, we literally had the opportunity to finish this race. They were responding under local yellow, and I can't believe that not even like the top group of cars came
Yeah.
in there
Literally
and had a crash.
the best in the field
Yes.
were
Like,
crashing in a
what are
turn
we
one
even
where
doing? So I agree with you. Like,
yeah.
comp license out, revoked. Like, you need to go back to DE. You need to go, like, basically, you need to restart. You should not be in a competition environment if you can't handle that scenario.
If the risk of hurting somebody else is not enough risk for you to like calm it down for like 5 seconds in the race, then maybe the risk of you not doing the thing, at least with that organization, will play into your calculations of, is this worth it?
Right.
Yes.
So that's where I'm like, okay, so we can be like, corner workers are weenies and liability and da 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 da. But I mean, I know Road Atlanta had a fatality for a corner worker recently in the last 5 years. This just happened this weekend. So like, turning away customers can't be a thing. Club racing's never going to do that. But also, like, the reality of the world we live in now at racetracks is that they are going to do the safest thing possible at the expense of everything else. So like, how do you walk that line with I guess we kind of already answered it, because it kind of ties back into the, like, how do you give driving standards to people, but also how do you handle those consequences even? I don't know.
Think about this from a perspective of like running a racetrack. Let's say you're the manager of like all these track workers. And so like you're making the shots and your job is to make sure that your employees are happy, safe, and then they come back for work the next time, right? So if the safest way, like the safest thing to happen is where you're just like, nope, full course caution, full course caution. This helps my employee retention, right? That means I don't have to train new personnel, all this stuff, right? If that just becomes like the default, like conservative, safe option, then that's what will always happen everywhere all the time. And these managers of tracks, they're communicating with each other. So like one track will be like, yeah, we're having issues, so now we just full course yellow everything. It starts to become like a solution. So yeah. So it's not even. Right now I'm talking to like the racers. It's not even just your current situation. It's the current situation for all racers everywhere. Don't be the guy that screws it up. Don't tilt the scales in the wrong direction by being an absolute hooligan. Now, I will say this, Tom. In some GLTC races we did, there was a car at Mid-Ohio. Do you remember when Jensen broke and he was at the apex of the turn into Thunder Valley? I slowed down because that is a reasonable thing to do. You know what happened? Everyone behind me was right on my bumper when we left that thing. Yeah. I slowed down. Nobody else did. So now for the next, whatever, 4 or 5 laps that the car was still there, you couldn't slow down because you'd lose whatever gap that you just built to like everything behind you.
Right. That's where the conversation to me gets really interesting from a competitor's perspective. We're having a rules conversation as lizards. I'm the first one to push these limits. I've absolutely been the person that doesn't slow down under caution. In fact, I'm probably the first one to be like, I'm completely fine. And I am completely fine, right? Like, I'm in control of the car. I see the other incident. Like, there's the assessment that I've done with my experience and skill level is probably true. Like, I am fine. But in a bigger picture, you zoom out for like an organization's perspective. How do you help people not lose their competitive? Because that happened this weekend a couple of times. There were people who would slow down more under caution than others, and they would gain advantages, and that's incentivized, really.
Yeah.
How do you de-incentivize that from the organizer so that the lizards also don't feel like they're just being like handcuffed to a pole and not being allowed to race?
I don't know, man. It's so tough. I don't think there is an elegant solution. I feel like there's plenty of smart people that have thought about this and they haven't came up with a solution. If we just like happen to come up with a solution on the podcast, what does that say about like all the other people? You know what I mean? Like,
we're so smart.
Oh my God, guys, it's so simple. Yeah, I don't think there's a good solution here. I don't think you can write the rule. I think it just has to be done with like the tone and
Yeah.
the setting expectations for what is expected, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in my experience, I think people are really good at meeting the bar that you set for them. Like we've done, not that this is the same exact thing, but we've done some sim races where we're like, we are asking a lot of these people. Remember like multi-class at Laguna Seca with all these
Yeah,
crazy
that was
cars in a full
crazy,
field and all this?
but everyone handled it really,
But we
really well.
foresaw the issues. We
Hmm.
we verbalized them. We said these are the things that are not acceptable. Not being aware of a car coming up on you is not acceptable. That is a completely fine thing to say in a driver's meeting, I think, and that
Yeah,
sets the bar that that is not acceptable. I'm curious if that I would hope that more and more organizations do that, I guess, to avoid this. The other thing I noticed was that people absolutely suck as a whole at foreseeing when stack ups are going to happen. This is under full course yellow, but also race starts again. People are horrible at it.
you
And I
know,
don't understand
you know what this is?
that issue exactly, but it's the same reason that no one can handle on the highway. You know, like one person hits their brakes and then 3 hours later it's total gridlock. Like it's just the
That
butterfly
might be a little
effect of
different. Yeah,
ebb and flow.
you know what it is?
What?
Because if you get enough reps at like racing with packs of cars, you you'll see it happening because you've seen it enough times. A lot of
You're
times,
saying me versus someone less experienced?
no, I'm just saying like somebody who gets enough experience like racing in packs of cars. What happens a lot with the like this was a big this was like the spring nats of SCCA road racing, right? So this is like
Yes.
the
Yeah, yeah.
biggest classes that these drivers have seen probably since the runoffs last year, right? So like the
Yes.
packs of cars were the packiest that they've been since last year in September, right? Or October or whenever that race happened. So it's been a long time since they've seen that. So they haven't had the reps of how packs of cars maneuver and react to each other and
Mm.
how it does stack up. So I think you were just seeing rust. Like with people being like really bad at that, they're just not getting the reps because the regional races tend to spread out more and there's less packs.
Yeah, maybe. So the specific one that popped up all weekend long was we're at Road America, right? So put yourself there. You're coming out of the final corner, the right-hander turn 14. There's like what, a half a mile to the start finish line, something. It's like a long way to the
Yes.
finish line. And there's this big hill that climbs like 5 stories. So you can't see the start finish line. It's all uphill. And with these bigger packs of cars, like anything more than 10 rows, so like anything more than 20, 25 cars, the second half of the field would be rushing to catch the paired up pack, or what do you call it? Yeah, the
Like
paired
for the
up
race
pack for the
start.
green. Yeah, so the first 10 rows are all kind of like perfectly neat, and then it's more and more and more cars coming in faster and faster and faster. Then they're going uphill where they can't even see when the green flag comes out. So they don't know if the race has started yet. And then the worst one was like 50, 60 cars. There's just people coming in full tilt, just full throttle over the hill
Mm,
into like the green flag hasn't waved yet. And I
yeah.
remember as I'm watching this happen, obviously there's nothing we can do about it. We're just watching it on camera unfold. And I'm just like, please don't crash, please don't crash, please don't crash. We had like 3 or 4 close calls this weekend, but there have been crashes before the green flag at the runoffs at this track in the past 2 years, like multiple times, where people don't have the foresight. And I think it's because I struggle to blame people with that, because you can blame rust, but if you've never been to Road America and it's your race for the championship or for the day or whatever, like your default state is to catch the pack. Like that's the most important thing to you.
Yeah.
But I think if there was some advice or given or some notes given, like this is what happens at this section of the racetrack, it's, again, I'll use my line. It's not acceptable to catch the pack at a closing rate of speed that becomes dangerous.
Yeah. Yep.
Something like that.
You set
And
that
I think that could
expectation.
be actually given for yellow flag conditions or certain conditions under yellow. Like for example, I'll go to Barber. When you come out of turn 2 and 3 at Barber and this big right-hand carousel, you're going downhill, it opens up, you could just flat out, and then you go uphill over this blind crest to the right, and that's turn 4.
Yep.
Under yellow flag there, no matter what happens,
It
the field
stacks.
will string out down the hill, string out up the hill, and then the next corner is a hairpin. So there will be a bunch of cars parked and like basically stopped over
Yeah.
turn
I've
5.
seen
And
this.
the bigger the field is, the worse it gets.
Yep.
but I'm realizing I've never heard anybody like verbalize that to anybody, or maybe say in the driver's meeting,
You
like,
just have
hey,
to
this is something that happens under full course in this section of the racetrack. It's not acceptable for that to happen. Don't let that happen. And
yeah.
just like raise the bar for people a little bit.
I I feel
Um,
like the gamemanship of having like a roll on a start is nullified completely when it's you will be DQ'd if you had a roll on the car in front of you and you used that to pass them before turn one. Like that, like if you pass them because they mess up, all fair game. Oh, they miss a shift, pass them, right? Like you left
yeah,
at the same speed and like for some reason your car was just faster than them, pass them. But if you had a roll on them and that allowed you to pass them, DQ'd.
sure. There was even one, this was like full lizard. There was a guy in a Formula V. He was at the front of the field. So he got to set the pace for his, like, he couldn't get past. Duh. Okay. So they're under full course yellow. The first Formula V is in the race group with Formula Fords, Formula Fs, like
Okay.
Formula 1600s. And he knew that those cars would accelerate away faster when the green flag came out. So I could tell he started accelerating and even started to pull out and like create overlap with the Formula 600 or 1600 in front of him, so that when that car went full throttle, he didn't complete the pass, but he had a run on the cars behind him so that he didn't
That
get
is full
swamped.
lizard. That is full
And I'm like,
lizard.
that's so genius, but also if that goes wrong, man, holy shit.
Yeah,
You
like
know?
that car misses a gear, the green flag doesn't quite come out when you expected it to come out. Look, I think I've told this story on the podcast before, but let me tell a quick story about Tom O'Gorman in a 24-hour race we were doing at
Uh-oh.
Daytona on iRacing.
Oh yeah.
So we're racing GT3. This was a while ago, so there was prototypes, GTE, which is like a faster car with doors, and then GT3, which is what we were racing. It's still a really fast car, but not quite as fast as GTE. The way iRacing does mixed class starts is like really actually kind of crazy. And it just kind of goes, it's like an honor system of whoever's on pole position. And Tom was on pole position in the GT3 cars. And
Oh yeah.
he's trying to time up like when he leaves, like because he doesn't want to react to the green flag because then he loses his advantage of a pole position. So he wants to leave a little early, right? So he has a big gap to the cars in front of him. And he's like counting it down. Okay. All right, they're going to get the green flag soon. And he goes. But what Tom didn't know is that the prototype leader didn't also start his race and get like an advantage by like leaving early to like make the green flag trigger on. And so what ends up happening is Tom passed every single. Well, so Tom has his full head of steam. It does go green. And he literally just drives past all of the GTE cars. There's GT3 cars. It's absolutely chaos. They're running into each other. Tom wiggles through all of it. He's like in like second or first place of the GTE cars by the time we get to turn one. And Tom completely won out and everyone was dead. And we went off and won that race.
I wreaked total havoc.
It was absolute pandemonium, but it totally worked out for us. And it was not on purpose.
Yep. I got nervous. To your point, I didn't want to like find out the green flag came out second when I'm on pole. So I just started to go, and it felt like forever. I'm like, waiting. Okay,
wait.
I gotta go, and then I bring the whole field with me at 160 into the next wave. Whatever.
It was bad, but I think to iRacing, I think they finally. I haven't really looked into the latest update. The last update came out yesterday. I think they added multiple pace cars, or maybe they're planning on doing it. So each class will have its own race start, which is like freaking finally iRacing. Like, what have we been doing this whole time? Like, oh my, because the current system has way too many Tom O'Gormans in it. So yeah, it just it gets pretty chaotic.
Yeah, I didn't really have a finishing point on that whole thing, but I watched it happen so much this weekend. I'm like, that's another thing that all of us can do better, you know?
Yeah.
Like all of us as grassroots motorsports can do better. And I know we get people who obviously are like not group leaders. What's the word where you're like you're influential to your group? Is it group leaders?
The cool guy in paddock. The cool person in paddock.
We have a lot of cool guys in paddock who
the
listen
role
to this,
model,
and even some
Matt
people
Martin,
who are in charge of events.
I think Matt Martin hit
listen
it.
To this. So think about those things.
Matt Martin hit it. He said role model.
Bot leader?
No.
Thought leader. Thought leader is what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. I don't know what bot leader is, Sean, but thought leader is probably correct.
Bot leader is after the lobbyists get to him.
You
The
know
Formula
what?
V
Yeah,
lobbyists.
you know what we really need here, guys? We need some Hassport motor mounts. He
Yeah.
holds one up like Vanna White.
Okay, and then the last thing from this weekend that we both agree we want to talk about was from that video in Discord.
Yeah. So Raul won a NASA race this weekend. Raul's a listener of the podcast, a friend of the podcast. So congrats, Raul. But he was sharing some video of a particular driver, and we're not going to name him, that just was like, this person was totally content with just crashing if Raul did not get out of the way. And we were talking before the podcast started how that is just like, that is just so insane that you would even find out that this would work. Like in a sense where you're like, well, I'm just going to turn in. They always get out of the way. Well, at some point they're not. And then what? You just crash? Like that is like such a lunatic way of driving a car. And people are guessing. We're not going to confirm or deny, but it seems like people are very confident who it is. But it's like absolutely insanity to just make somebody decide that you don't crash.
For more context, this is a person who's been uninvited from other series for bad behavior and creating crashes. Very much along these lines. So my question, my jump off point, and I know like we don't say this for drama. I think it's an interesting conversation point, even though it can be taken as drama, but it's, what do you do with somebody who is consistently on a different page than everybody else,
Yeah,
right?
I don't
Because that's what
know.
he is. He's like, this is a person who's on a different page. They're willing to create situations around them where somebody else it becomes someone else's problem to make it a clean race, you know?
Yeah.
What do you do with someone like that?
I don't
I
know.
really don't know. I get emotional and I don't really know how to handle this type of stuff. If they, I get emotional even if I'm not involved. I'm like, just kick them out. That's my first gut response. I'm like, I don't know if you can. Even back to running leagues at the go-kart track when I was in charge of that, there were people who like they could not learn. They could not learn that they were creating the problems for themselves.
Yeah. You see these people where it's like they're not the issue, but they're always caught up in the stuff, right?
Kick them out. Yes.
Yeah. So
Okay, so let me give you a challenge. You're coaching this person. You're seeing it happen. What do you say?
I think,
Do you say anything?
yeah, well, okay. It depends, like, if it's happening, like, on an instinctual level, like, if this is, like, the natural response to, like, fight or flight, I don't know if you can coach that out. Now, if it's just a misunderstanding of what's expected and, like, there's some openness to, like, okay, yeah, I understand how, like, that wouldn't work unless somebody literally just gets out of my way, and that's not fair to them, and that's not fair to anybody that I'm racing against, and that's not actually how this competition works, right? Then
Yeah.
like there's hope. But if it's like an instinctual, like this is just the baseline and it's uncoachable, I don't know. Like maybe like you kind of like show them oval racing and you go like, look at this.
Yeah.
Like, this might be more your flavor. I don't know. And I don't mean to talk crap about oval racing, but it just seems like
Yeah.
like in oval, like contact is a little bit more just like kind of part of the deal. But like at least for club racing, like road racing kind of motorsports, contact is not part of the deal. Like that's not part of the competition. It's not. It's
I
just,
actually don't think everybody would agree with us on that, even though we agree on that.
yeah, you know what? Those people are the problem, not us.
I do tend to agree with you,
Yeah.
but then we're just at a stalemate. I'm trying to think of what I would genuinely do in a like non-emotional feedback, just like, how would I help this person? What I assume happens is that it feels like they're operating at a bandwidth that they can't really like handle. They're, like you said, fight or flight. They're like, their vision's very small, almost red misty, right? They're just like, they're just grasping at every advantage they can possibly get without being able to zoom out. And maybe I would start that conversation there. I would ask a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Be like, what was in your mind, when you changed lanes 3 times down the back straight? Why did you change lanes here? Why did you change lanes here? Why did you, make them really verbalize and think out and just see if I can maybe help them.
What if their answer
hear
was
the answer?
Yeah. What if their answer was, I'm racing, man?
That's what's scary to me.
Yeah. So let's like
Yeah, I don't know. What so then you challenge
that's
them what on okay, so
that's
you're racing at the expense of the other person.
yeah.
How does that make you feel? Go therapist on them.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. I think, I think that behavior that's like unfixable, uncoachable, like in the instances where it is unfixable and uncoachable, I think it's evidence of like some actual. It's not. I'm drawing a blank on a sociopath. I think it's like actual evidence of a sociopath, and you're not going to be able to like. They can fake empathy, right? But they don't actually
Sure.
feel it. They don't actually like. Well, oh, at the expense of their race, who cares? I'm winning, right? Like that would be like
Yeah.
it can't even compute that like yeah, at the expense of their race, we're competing against each other. Like that would be like where it goes to. And I took a picture. Me and Christine were I forget where we were, but there was like one of those little book huts where it's like take a book, leave a book kind of thing.
Oh, sure. Mhm.
And I took a picture of it because I meant to read it. And I read it for like 15 minutes, and I was like, dang, I definitely need to read this book. But the book was like kind of explaining that sociopaths are all around us, and you can't really spot them. But what I'm saying is, in the racing like lens, sometimes it's kind of easy to spot them. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I think there's something to that for sure. Like I think the remorse thing is the key,
Yes.
right? Because I've had moments where I'm like,
Maybe that was
all
kind of
borderline sociopathic behavior, but
yeah.
then like I know I f- then I the one that I always think of right away is at Mid Ohio and GLTC. I thought I had to finish at X position to win the weekend, and I actually had to finish X minus one, so I could finish like seventh instead of sixth. And Andy Smedegard was sixth, and I like basically muscled him off the racetrack and raced him like a complete asshole, and to get sixth. And at the end of the race, I couldn't even look him in the face because I felt so bad about it. I like basically I didn't hit him, but I pushed him off the racetrack when we
Like
were side by side.
he
And
had to avoid
I
the
started
crash.
like making these like lungy pokes and stuff at him. And as soon as the adrenaline cleared my system, I was like, I am a horrible person. I feel
Yeah.
horrible. I feel so bad about what I just did. I can't even look him in the eye. But
Yeah.
you know, that's the difference. The other anecdote it makes me think about, and you're gonna have to coach somebody like this eventually, just so you know. That's why I kind of
Yeah.
ask you. Um, I had this happen once when I was coaching. I forget if I told the story. I'll make it short. But it was when I was subbing for Kenton in Radical Cup, and I was coaching this guy in an SR10, and he was racing for the podium. He was third, Road America, just through the kink, and he's following second. And you know how the cars fade left to right a couple times naturally in that section?
Yep.
Well, the person in front of him faded right to open up the approach for the braking zone at Canada Corner, which obviously you end up back on the left. He saw that as the doors open for me to go to the left, and he stayed committed to go to the left for so long that the other person then came across the racetrack to then brake and broke, and my person that I was coaching just cleared him out. I think I've shown you the video. Just
I
like
have seen the
completely
video.
wrecked him
Yeah. Yeah.
and dumped him at like 160 miles an hour, and the guy went straight off in Canada Corner and into the wall and all this. I don't see this happen, but I'm on the radio with him, and all I hear is, he blocked me. He blocked me. That guy in front of me blocked me. And then he comes out of the Canada Corner section and back into my view, and he's by himself. Come to learn, there was an accident, whatever. So we pull the video, and it hits my brain like as it happens. I'm like, I don't believe him. When he's like, he blocked me. He blocked me. Like
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
about it, I don't believe him. So I pulled the video as fast as I could. I started watching it right away, and sure enough, the guy just like freaking wrecked the other guy.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting in the room with him, and he still believes to his core that he's in the right. And I know from 100% of my, like every fiber of my being that he's wrong, and he's probably going to get in trouble.
And there's no way you
whatever
can
else.
convince him. Yeah.
So then the conversation goes into, how do I help him understand that without just being like, you're wrong?
Yeah.
Because I think some coaches would, but maybe that's really not my style. I was also scared because he's like just a rich guy that I don't know very well, and I assume that he's not going to take this feedback very well.
Yeah.
And he did actually end up kind of getting to the, like, he didn't really admit fault, but he did accept blame.
Yes.
If you can understand the difference
he
between those two.
admitted to his part in how it played out.
Yes. And I tried to make it all about like his root misunderstanding. Obviously, it's not malicious or whatever. His root misunderstanding is just realizing that the guy's taking his natural line down that straightaway. And the fact that he faded right doesn't just give you the right to go to the left because you weren't there.
Yeah.
And he's going to come back to the left. You're still fully behind him. You don't get the right to do anything with
exactly.
him fading to the right and fading to the left. Anyway, road course racing stuff to think about this week on the Lizard Brains podcast. I don't know if there's any takeaways from that, but
No. Well, maybe. Here's the takeaway. If you spot a sociopath on the racetrack, maybe take that into account when you're racing that person.
yeah, I think that's the worst reality is you kind of have to just live with it sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to be like, okay, this is the nature of like what we're dealing with here. I really need to
Just start a sociopath petition where everybody can sign, and at some point, X number of votes, they're off the island.
I wonder if being a sociopath is on a spectrum.
No, nothing. Maybe. I'm gonna Google what sociopath actually means.
It's literally like you lack remorse. Like you can't feel empathy, or like your actions having impact on others doesn't cause you any kind of grief.
Yeah, lack of empathy, remorse, manipulation, impulsivity, disregard for rules. Honestly, you're kind of nailing that one.
Oh, me?
Kind of exactly what it is.
As a
Yeah.
person? Oh, thanks, Tom.
No. Yeah, we've had this is actually an intervention, episode 203, the intervention.
Well, here's the thing. So like you pulled out an example of you having sociopath behaviors when like the adrenaline is up and then you have regrets afterwards, which I think indicates that you're not. And I felt the same way when like the adrenaline's up. Like you're just kind of like, well, we're competing, and then immediately after you go, oh no, what? Oh, I have regrets. Like, and then it's sometimes even like I have these regrets in iRacing. I don't think I've done this to anybody in real life. I'll literally let them by. I'm like, nope, you go. Like, I don't want any part of that. Like, I am ashamed of myself. I will race you now how I actually want to race you, not like whatever I just did to you. I'm like, ugh, like I'm like icking away from it, right?
Yep.
But I wonder if it's on a spectrum. Like, is there some sociopathness that like gets unlocked out of me when the adrenaline is up, and then like if there's a percentage of sociopath, like maybe some of that percentage like actually lives and like in different amounts in like all of us or whatever. Cause I'm sure it is on some kind of spectrum of some sort. And then like a full blown clinically sociopathic person is just like incapable of like, they're just 100%. Like, so I don't know. Curious.
I think it also comes out when you're at a disadvantage / uncomfortable with your standing / position, whatever.
Yes.
You know, more like on a meta level. Like if you know you don't have the fastest car, you're more likely to do something like this. If you know you're probably going to get passed, or if you know that insert whatever disadvantage you think you might have, I think it's more likely to come out than I'm thinking of like when the last time I might have seen you do anything like this is, and I can't think of anything even close to recent because you're so like legitimately fast in the scale of iRacing. I'm talking iRacing. You're so legitimately fast that you don't have to like,
I feel like
pull out the stops that would maybe do some things that people don't like.
Being completely honest, like this, well, so I did kind of dirty Thomas Lathrop the other day in an iRacing race. Cause I was in second, and me and Thomas were side by side in a corner, and first was up there, and I thought I cleared him, but in hindsight, I don't know how I thought I cleared him. So like there was somewhere in my brain that's just like, if I don't get on the throttle now and shove Thomas off the racetrack, I lose this race. And what did I do? I got on throttle. I shoved Thomas off the racetrack. He went in the gravel. He lost like 2 spots, and I went and won the race, but at the expense of Thomas, right? Like, so like, that's what I'm saying. Like it lives somewhere in there. And I did feel bad that I was like, oh crap. Like my bad behavior, like cost Thomas like two positions or whatever. And really we should have just been fighting for second for the rest of the lap. But like, I don't know, like I think it does live in there somewhere. That's why I'm curious, like I definitely do feel, I feel like I'm outing myself as a sociopath right now. I definitely feel remorse. Okay. Everyone listening to this, I definitely do. It's not faked. But yeah, like it sometimes does, like this, like behavior at the expense of others to like benefit yourself. Like it comes out sometimes, and it never feels good. Another example of like when you're feeling like you're at a disadvantage is I remember there was a race where I was sticking with somebody just because I was in their draft, and we came across traffic, and the traffic was not in my favor, and I just like was an asshole to the traffic because like I didn't have the pace to keep up with the person. So like I felt like I needed to do this in order to still have a chance in the race, right? So you're right. When you are at like feeling like under or like at a disadvantage, you're more prone to like make these terrible choices that are like at the expense of others. So you're right
Yeah.
about that. When you feel like you have plenty of pace, you feel like you have more options of like what you're gonna do. When you feel like you don't have like this pace to like make up for inopportune moments, then you tend to take more risk and do more uh like scumbag behaviors. So
Yeah. So that's the way you handle this. When the next time you see somebody, listener, behaving this way, you go to them and say, "Why do you feel so small right now? What are you uncomfortable about? What do you feel at a disadvantage?"
do,
No,
do, are you
that would go horrible.
are you slower than the others and now now you're mean on the racetrack?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
dang it.
a horrible joke to end a productive conversation.
All right. Was there that was basically the stuff that we want to talk about. You want to do some questions, Tom?
Yeah, we're overdue.
Okay. I'll hit the button. Emails. All right. You got one queued up already?
There's so many good ones. I'm trying to pick one.
Okay.
I think we might have skipped a couple of pins. Anyway, we'll just start at the fresh. This is from Taylor. Question for the lizard leaders at large. I guess that's us. If someone is doing too much to get the car moving around on the limit, how do you convey that less is more in a tangible and practical way? We've all heard that smooth is fast, but blindly slowing down everywhere to fix the overdriving also nerfs the underdriving even more. I think that I'm currently in a cycle of overworking the car to get it moving, chasing it all over the limit and not placing it well, allocating bandwidth to stay on top of the car and not towards looking as far ahead as possible, then dialing it back with other elements because now I'm gun shy, so the car doesn't pivot or move with the momentum as it's under the limit. Ultimately, leaving time on the table either way. What's the best way to see this cycle early and end the cycle in practice? Big thanks.
First of all, Taylor, I think your question shows that you've had a lot of thought and put a lot of troubleshooting into your own driving. So I think you're already like heading in the right direction. For me, the approach here is to just concentrate on accuracy rather than like over and under driving. You concentrate on the accuracy of having the tire at its specific amount of slide or stretch or angle or whatever. Um, and that will lead to just first of all the smoother driving without the under driving is at least that's how I focus on it. I focus on like the accuracy of how I have the car moving, the accuracy of the placement, the accuracy of uh, how I'm moving the weight around. Like that's the thing I focus on is just the just the overall accuracy of it all. What about you, Tom?
It's a great question. The first thing I'm thinking of, I'll just kind of talk it out loud as I process it, is I try to maybe pay attention to, I don't want to say what percentage maybe, but what amount of time, what percentage of time, what percent of like how much over the limit the car is, um, and where. I think where is the most important thing.
Okay, explain.
Um, because if you're overdriving the car, it can be all sorts of different things, right? But the for example, if you're overdriving entries enough that you can really pay attention to when does the car come back to me? Maybe is the question to ask. And then really pay attention to how far over that limit you had been. So like don't necessarily try to go in with an approach to fix the problem that you know you're tending to have at this moment, but you're trying to find a way to observe it as quickly as possible and get rid of it as quickly as possible. So that's where I'm trying to think, like, if I'm for example consistently coming off the brakes too late and dealing with an understeer until the car comes back to me, the tire grips back up. Or an example you like to use with the ABS, if you're in the ABS of the car for, the corner entry under braking, and then you pay attention to how long it takes the car to get out of ABS to actually do what you need to do, because
If you're
you know
buried in the pedal and you like start pulling like 10 pounds, 20 pounds, 30 pounds, and it's the same behavior, now your brake release is not exactly where you expect it to be, like when the behavior of
yeah,
the
and it
car
could be
starts
like,
changing.
it could be more, like, you don't have to even put numbers to it, but that's where I'm kind of going with how I fix that. Is if I'm paying attention to when the car starts to do what I really actually wanted it to do, I think getting it to do that on the first try, or the next try, I guess is the better way to put it, is where I'm going with it. I
Yeah,
lost my train of thought
no, no,
here,
no.
but
I see where you're going. It's like, so like I'm saying like focus on accuracy, and you're saying focus on when the car is doing what you want it to do, and like, and when it's not doing what you want it to do, how far away were you from that?
yeah,
And then you can basically, and you get to it with repetitions, because really, like, at the end of the day, we're driving the car. Like, we can think about the physics and the inputs and all this thing, we can think about this stuff. It's really hard to do that when we're driving. It's really like down to the sensations that we're feeling. So lock into the sensations of when the car's at probably the appropriate amount of the limit, and then notice when you're not at that, and judge how far away you are from what the appropriate sensation in the car is.
yeah, I think that's a good way to sum up what I mean. I know Taylor's probably asking this question mostly related to autocross, so I'm thinking of like the amount of hustle that stays in the car throughout the autocross run, and the amount of weight transfer that happens, and the lack of time where the car's not really doing much,
Yeah.
right? You're not just like sitting and driving in a straight line, hardly ever. So I'm trying to think of it from that context, and that can be really difficult to process. Like, when did the car start to do what I wanted to do? That's a really abstract thing to think about. It's just where my mind went the first time. I agree with your thought about the accuracy thing. I also don't. I think smooth is fast is a misnomer for what the car needs to be smooth, but your inputs don't need to be
No, they
smooth.
don't need to be.
Exactly.
If it looks
As long
smooth
as the
from the
weight.
outside, then that's smooth enough. It doesn't need to
Yeah.
feel or be, or like, it doesn't need to feel smooth, like in your hands or in your feet or in your ass in the seat. Like, that doesn't need to be smooth. The way that the tire is interacting with the surface needs to be smooth.
Right. Yep. But it's so easy to like, I think an experienced autocrosser who has yet to, a good autocrosser who's chasing great, maybe, is a, like, just use that as a vague example. They know they need to go fast, so they're trying to get to going faster than they are currently going at all times.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's to their detriment because they brake too late, or they, get back to throttle too early. And it feels faster and feels good in the moment to keep your speed up at that split second, but maybe staying off the throttle and not going to a fluffy throttle was actually faster.
Yeah. In my experience, when somebody is just a little bit off pace from like the greats, it's just a mistake here and a mistake there, and then the rest of the run looks completely fine. Like, that's literally
Yeah.
the difference. It's not like they're behind everywhere. It's just like a difference of approach, or like a little thing that they probably passed off as like, that wasn't ideal. I'm gonna keep going. Right? It's like those little moments and things that the person that is beating you didn't have, or they had other ones, but like it was damage controlled better. It's not that they're just out there just driving faster, because they're playing with the same physics that you are. It's just they're executing on the placement and the game plan better than you are. And also like difference of approaches, and like they might have read the course a little differently and stuff like that. But like getting your hands on that data to be like, okay, here is the like two, three, maybe even one spot where I lost time. Why? Why did I lose the time? Was it was it a difference of approach? Did I like, what could I have executed better to not make that mistake? Right? Like, those are the things that I would concentrate on troubleshooting. And uh, I think that's what's going to yield the best results to closing that gap, is trying to understand, why did you make the mistake? Why did you lose time in this spot? What could you have done differently, whether it was during the course walk or your adjustments in between runs, or just like the whole overall process. Like, try to like lock in on the thing that made that mistake or that different approach happen differently, and try to troubleshoot your way out of whatever that was.
Yeah. Good question. Difficult question. I hope that was somewhat helpful, Taylor.
Yeah. I
All right, I
think you're
got another.
asking the
Oh,
right
go
questions,
ahead.
Taylor, to
Yeah.
go from good to greatest.
To the best.
To the literally the
Um,
best.
all right, I got another one. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
It's a bit of a long one. This is a great question, though. This is from Noah. I hope this is an acceptable question. I've been battling this for a bit, so I wanted to ask. Hey, fellas, a bit of what feels like a quote unquote taboo question to be asking in a public forum, but how did you decide you were good enough to be doing private coaching? And how did you decide what to charge? And I would add to this question, how did you decide it's okay to start instructing, or you were experienced enough? The context of this question, I've been instructing novices and coaching friends, experienced and inexperienced alike, as my way to get to the track due to financial constraints this year. I've been putting in great effort to my approach, as I feel this is the process of teaching itself as I feel the process of teaching itself is a great skill. I'm happy to say I've been quite proud of the results. I've even received good reviews and have turned down offers for tips and payment, which has led me to think of doing this for real. My driving background isn't spectacular. I try hard to get better consistently. I've been going to the track for a little over 3 years, a couple of dozen track days. I've competed in time attack. My sim racing, I do a lot of sim racing. I'm currently around 4,000 I rating, et cetera, et cetera. Just giving him all this background, kind of consolidating here. Sure, I can help a novice to learn the basics and become faster, or even safer, but I've also been able to help my faster friend find the faster lines for the car, adjust their inputs to match, et cetera. Uh, but I often feel I'm not doing anything more than being another perspective to bounce their ideas and interpretations from. I'm quick, but I'm not that quick in the grand scheme of things, but I do love helping and teaching others. I'm not sure how to approach this. The last thing I want to do is take someone's money in an already expensive hobby and not provide the value they're looking for. And I don't want to be stressed about this so much that I don't enjoy it and therefore don't provide a good product. It's a great question. So, whether money's involved or not, what does this make you think of?
Okay, so there was one point in his question. Da, 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 da. Um, he says in his question, I often feel I'm doing nothing more than being another perspective to bounce ideas and interpretations from. That is
Boom.
coaching. You got
Yeah.
there. That's literally the thing. Like and just going off of the last question where just like you try to find the thing and troubleshoot the thing or whatever, you're just another brain doing that for that person. That's what coaching is. You're identifying the thing and you're troubleshooting it together. Um, it's not like you have this like this like know all presence and you know all the things. Nope, you're just another brain that is inquisitive and curious about why is that time missing, and you ask questions and you try to dig into um, and find the root cause of why this stuff exists or why it keeps happening or this or that or whatever. And you're just a person to help them troubleshoot these identified issues. That's
Yes.
that's
Okay. So all
basically
that
it in a
said,
nutshell, right?
yeah. So I'll share my experience a little bit. I struggle with this a lot. I've also talked on the recently that I don't do a lot of coaching or any right now because I just don't mesh with it very well in some of these ways. A very interesting thing happened when I started coaching and advertising it and putting money to it and saying I'm available for hire.
Yeah.
People who I had never coached and am friends with started telling and talking about how great of a coach I am. And I was like, I've not been doing this for very long. I've certainly never coached you. How do you like you're kind of blowing smoke, right? To hype me up, which is greatly appreciated and cool. But it also made me it hit me as like, like what if I don't meet
Those
that
expectations. Yeah.
those expectations that these people are now like they're hyping me up and they're pumping and pumping and pumping. Um, So, and I hate the money transaction part of it. Like all of there are a lot of the reasons that he's highlighting here are reasons that I bounced off of coaching. Not because I don't think I'm a good coach, but the other parts of it. In my experience, a lot of coaches don't have that problem, and they don't think much of the monetization process, and they don't think much of the, maybe that's not giving them a lot of credit, but it does, it doesn't hit them the same way. So I would say if it's hitting you about like the monetization part of it or the not experienced enough part of it, or no, I want to get to that second. If you're the monetization, the business part, the advertising, like that stuff's a different thing to think about. If it's experience level, that one's a little bit harder, I think, because to DJ's point, there isn't an amount of knowledge that that makes you worth having a coach or being able to be a coach. If you can ask the right questions, if you can be another brain for that person, in theory, you can be an effective coach for literally anybody. But you do need to have in my opinion, I think better coaches have a wider experience of just past experience and knowledge that they can pull from to shorten that process up as much as possible when
Yes.
possible. Um, so there's no right answer really, but I'm trying to think through like, if you're limited on the raw pace of a car that you've driven, it might be a lot harder for you to coach somebody in an unlimited time attack car or a GT3 car or a Radical if your experience is Club TR and Sunday Cup. Oh,
Yeah.
just pulling random shit out of my head, right? Or if you've never driven on racing slicks and all of your experience is on street tires. Again, you could be a completely effective coach for people most of the time, but there's probably also information you don't know that you also now are in the learning process with that other person.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going with this, but I'm trying to make the point that
I think
there's no right or wrong answer, but there is a point where I think if you're questioning whether you know enough, you're probably asking the right question, but also you probably know at your core that there are maybe there are jobs or people that you should give the caveat. I always try to give the caveat, like I've not driven
exactly.
this type of
That's
car.
what I was
I've not
gonna
driven
say.
this tire. I've not da 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 da. But I'm going to start to ask questions about this and we're going to work through it together.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what I was gonna say is I don't think I think what sometimes happens with coaches is that they'll act like they have more experience in something than they do, but the better thing to do is to just let you just and maybe this works against like me getting coaching clients, but you just go like I like exactly like I don't have the experience in that, but we can figure that out together, right? And maybe what they think that they're looking for is somebody who knows it all, right? Or at least somebody that portrays that they know it all. But I think that's disingenuous because at the end of the day, none of us know it all. There's no all-telling being of driving that just like knows exactly what needs to happen at every given moment and they can just explain it to you and now you understand. That doesn't exist. So like anybody who's presenting themselves in that manner, I feel like it's a little disingenuous. Now, I think there is some simpler things that maybe could be like pretty cut and dry. Um, but
Like what?
I knew you were gonna ask, and I was like,
Not to,
crap, I
not
better
to put
come
you on
up
the
with
spot. I'm
yeah, I
sorry.
was like, I'm crap, I gotta come up with an example. Um, like like for example, like fluff and throttle. Like there's no instance unless it's just for the stability of the car that we should just be like hanging around mid corner like partial throttle. It's just
Yeah.
like there's other ways that we could approach that corner. Like that's just cut and dry. Um, unless partial throttle is like you're digging and carving out of the corner on the outside rear tire all the way to the edge of the racetrack, and you got like 1,000 horsepower, then sure, I guess it would show up in the data like partial throttle. But also you can't really ever floor it, and if you do, it's probably a mistake. Like I'm thinking like you've driven autocross cars where every time you like actually floored it, you're like, crap, I screwed up. Like
Yeah, yeah.
where they're
You
so
do like
fast.
you do
Yeah,
a whole day without barely going full throttle for sure.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. And it's like anytime you actually did floor it, it was a mistake. You're like, oh, dang it. So
Yep.
like I'm not talking in those instances. I'm talking I think people know what I'm talking about. So
Yeah.
yeah, in terms of I think with limited experience, I think it creates limited coaching, but that coaching brings you more experience, which then can open up the coaching a little bit more. And more experience. It's a little bit of a snowball. Like as you coach, you get more experience. That experience opens you up for more coaching opportunities, and then it snowballs from that. And then you got to start somewhere. When I first
Yeah.
started coaching on iRacing, I was quick in iRacing, but I didn't really understand how to help people improve. And I would charge $20 an hour, and I would keep them there as long as like I almost held them hostage, Tom. It'd be like 2-3 hours and we'd just be digging into iRacing. And then at some point I was like, this is dumb. Like after the first hour, like they're freaking spent anyways. And also I'm like throwing way too much information at them. Like it needs to be shorter and sweeter. And then also like here's the hot tip for coaching is you book the next appointment when you're done with the short and sweet, like here's your homework thing. You book the next one at the end and then you get them next time. You don't have to like keep them. They're not going to learn all the secrets of driving in like a 3-4 hour span because that's not how the human brain works. So like that, when I first started coaching, it was like 2 hours, $20 an hour. And I would get the experience of just getting the coaching in and learning that like people don't learn like that. People learn like this, stuff like that. Right. And thank you to
Yeah.
all my first guinea pigs of like just us hanging out for 2 or 3 hours. Like I appreciate it. That experience was very valuable to me. So I think that's kind of how you have to start. And then that kind of leads us into like the monetization part. And I think at first it starts for free because like as you start learning, you like helping your friends, like kind of like you already are. Right. And then at some point, like if you're given the help out, like you have to limit, like you can't just help everyone. So you have to like start charging something. So like it kind of limits like, okay, these people aren't like, they would do it for free, but they're not going to do it for $20. And now it like limits it down to, okay, these are the people that will pay me $20 for me to help them. Right. And then I think it goes up from there, like as whatever available free time you have, to help people, that's what it costs. And if whatever available free time you have, it like if what it needs to make isn't worth what people are willing to pay, then that's fine. Like you could go make money doing something else. Like you don't have to coach. But if they're willing to pay less to have you and you're willing to accept that, then that's like that's what it costs. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
So like, right.
I think like these other parts of it are stuff that I struggle with. But when
Yeah.
I started by just doing fun laps in people's cars at track days and grid life events and stuff back when they had HPDE.
Yep.
And that taught me in the same way that you would sit there for hours and kind of work with people, that taught you to streamline your process and taught you what things to look for quicker and that type of thing. Same exact for me as like, I would just drive the car and then we would look at the difference on the data.
Yeah.
And that taught me a whole lot so that to the point where now I don't have to drive the car to feel confident in the feedback I'm giving. Whereas 6 years ago I did. So yeah, there's no right answer, but I don't think it's so hard to define good coach. Every single time I would finish with someone, I was stressed whether it was good enough. Every single time.
I feel that, but I think that's
every single time they would send money, it would come back again.
Yeah. I think that's also part of the reason why you book the next appointment at the end is because then you're like, well, if it sucked, they wouldn't have booked another appointment, right? Like, so you kind of get that like, okay, did that suck? And then at some point you like get like an internal dyno of like, okay, I was helpful. Like they did find value in that. And like this is worth it to them. They are finding value out of the time that we spend together. Right.
Yep. Right.
So, and you know what? So, like sometimes like people find value in the time that you spend together because, oh my God, you just enlightened like the conversations and the questions that were asked and like the time spent. It enlightens like the next trajectory that they spend focusing on driving. And then sometimes it's just a fun, good time. And they're like, hell yeah, like this time I spend with DJ once a week is the thing that makes me get on the sim rig and do the thing because I know he's going to ask, did you do the laps or do you not do the laps? And it makes me do the thing and he holds me accountable and we have a bunch of fun when we meet. And like, that's worth it to me. And it's not my job to determine whether it's worth it to them. It's their job. And all I
Right.
can do is my best. And if it's good enough for them, then like I can't I and if it's not, like let's say it's not, then that's fine. I did my best. I can't do better than my best. Can I try to get my best to be better? Sure. That's a continual process. That's always happening all the time. But I can't change exactly what I am right in this moment. It's like a
Yeah.
it's a slow process. It goes on forever. It like I have no control over it essentially.
Right.
You like remove that control because you
That's
don't
a good
have
final
control.
thought is there are so many different styles of coaches as well. Like I know coaches who are very like review and task driven. That we look through things, go do this, go do this, go do this. And then it's like it's not even really a relationship. It's just like
Computer.
a taskmaster or something.
Yeah.
And then I know others who are like like basically all social and it's just all conversational and there's some questions and there's some light review, but for the most part you're hanging out with them. And then I know people who are like more psychology based and there are others who are like very data driven, and so you also can kind of like start to realize your style a little bit.
It's kind of like finding a therapist really because
Yeah, you're gonna find people who gravitate to your style.
yeah,
Well, honestly, there are some coaches I know, I think that they are literally the only thing keeping their customers racing, and it's because they're finding them the next events, and they're incent like,
like
they're
the
the
push.
stoke that the customer needs
Yeah.
to say, like, "We're gonna go oh, if you wanna go to this next" this happens in pro racing, I think, maybe a little bit more than club, where they might have a little bit more financial freedom. But if you say like, "Hey, you want to go do this event," to your customer and they're stoked about it, and then you're the one keeping them going to the racetrack because they want to go to the racetrack with you and you're finding events for them and all this. There's coaches like that.
Yep. So yeah, Sean says the best coach is the one that's right for you. It's an interpersonal relationship, and yeah, I agree with that because really, like there is a financial transaction, but really like you're building a relationship with these people or your coach, and like it should be a trusting, honest relationship that that benefits both parties, right?
Yep. So if that helps, Noah, good luck.
Yeah, it is. You know what? The first time you do ask for money, it feels weird. There's no way to get around that. It does feel weird. I mean, even now, I've been coaching sim racing and real racing for what like 5 years now. Um, feels weird. Still feels weird. It's a I wonder if any of my coaching clients pick up on it. But when I'm like, okay, and at the end of this, I'm like typing up my little invoice, like, okay, zero point 0.5 hours of prep, 1 hour of coaching. That will be $90. And do you have any last questions? And then normally they don't. And then I go, okay, well, we'll see you next week. And then I leave and I'm going, oh, that was hard. It
Yeah,
still feels like
exactly.
that. It still feels like
Or you're
that.
like, I've had ones where I'm doing the invoice and I'm like trying to find ways to make the invoice as small as possible by like cutting out like little gas tanks here and there or meals there, like, God, I hate this part so much.
Yeah. Yeah. It just that I don't. Maybe there's a point where you're just like, yeah, that's just like that. Oh, sorry, I hit my mic. That's just like part of doing business or whatever, and that's just the business part of the business or whatever. I don't know. It's still a little weird, but it's like that. It's the part that allows me to justify setting aside that time to do it. So like if I didn't do that, then it wouldn't justify the time. And I do really like coaching and helping people and stuff like that, but I need to justify the time. Really to my wife, to be honest. So so um but yeah, I think and everyone's gonna come at it a different way. But yeah, Noah, if you find people that you can help for free, and then eventually you like if you feel like you have too many people that like are willing to accept your help, then maybe that's the point where you start limiting how many people that you're able to help with charging something, and then see where it goes from there.
Yep.
And if you're too busy, then you have to charge more.
That's true. Actually, people will keep asking you to come back for free as long as you do it. But if you start, you we're just talking in circles at this point. You put a little bit of money to it. The people who keep asking you, that's the sign. That's the ones to pay attention to.
Yep.
We've been going. This is almost an hour and a half, right? What are you doing this weekend?
Oh, Tom, I am doing the Toledo Pro Solo with Peter Schnorr, and I tried to get you to come, but you got something going on, Tom. Mr. Tire Man over here.
Driver for hire will drive for food. Speaking of,
We'll drive for food.
but I did. Yeah, I was. Would you say we were going Toledo Pro Solo?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
Tom's
going
busy.
to Grid Life Midwest. This is my first time doing time attack for
Ooh.
real. I think the last time I did it.
Didn't you do it in
But,
an Evo or something at some
Vitor-
point?
What?
Did you do time attack in an Evo the last time you did time attack with Grid Life?
Yeah, the last time attack. I mean, I technically did Lime Rock last year, but the car broke and didn't really do laps in anything competitive, so I don't think that
that's
counts.
true. That doesn't count.
I did my lap in Super K, so that's sort of time attack. But the last time I did like legit time attack was GTA Button Willow Super Lap Battle, like 2021, I think. In that Evo.
Yeah.
Yeah, GTA Finals. Lou God remembers better than I do. Holy shit. And then I did Grid Life time attack in that same Evo 2019. So it's been a long time since I did it with Grid Life. But Vitor reached out and asked, Dallas Reed asked if I wanted to drive or would drive his Corvette ZR1 in track mod, in track battle. And we worked it out, and I'm going to go do that. So we're sharing the car. I think this is the plan. We're sharing the car, but we have separate entries. And I think I'm going to get half the sessions plus the shootout, and I think he's doing the other half of the sessions.
Okay.
So I'll be, I think I might only do like one session one day and like two the next day and then two the next day. So it won't be like super busy. I was even trying to figure out if I could come to the Toledo Pro Solo.
Yeah.
and like drive and go back, but they're 3 hours apart.
We
and I'm like, no,
established, we established that we need friends with helicopters. That's what we established.
that's what we need.
Yep.
Or if someone could just invent teleportation. I mean,
that
we're
would
coming
work
up on
too.
the Jetsons age right now. And where's
Yeah.
my flying car?
Where is it? If you had a flying car, you could do both.
I could. So yeah, I'm excited to go. I'm excited to see all the people at that I know I'm going to know there.
I know, dude. You
And
started.
I'm excited to drive a ZR1. I'm actually like, I have this pre-built fantasy already of like the ZR1, the way it sounds from turn 2 to turn 3 down the straight where all the spectators always are.
Ooh, yeah.
For the campground. I'm like, oh, all those people are going to think that car sounds so cool, and I'm going to be driving that car when they think that.
Is it? Does it have the OEM exhaust? Because in my experience, it wasn't that loud.
Really? Dave Marcus's car when we were at the track in one lap, it was audibly different than everybody else's car and loud enough to hear it. So I think it'll stand out.
All right. It wasn't like
I know
very
it's
loud,
getting
though.
it's getting no, it's not super loud. It's like a jet whoosh more than a car.
It is, yes.
But it's such a different noise that I think it stands out.
Yes, it sounds fast. It sounds fast, but it just doesn't sound loud.
Yep. And then I know it's getting shocks at Winning Formula, I think last week. So it won't be like a stock car either. And the one that I drove when I drove Dave's was on 300 treadwear, and this will obviously be on, I think it's their 200 treadwear. I don't actually know what tire we're using because I think there's two now. But anyway, I'll figure that out and I'll talk about it next week.
I think they're both 200 treadwear. One's like an autocross compound and one's like a track compound. So, but time attack, I don't know. You could be on the
100 treadwear.
Well, is that
track mod?
Oh, in track mod, is that legal?
It is, but I don't think it's this. I think the sizing's wrong. So I'm pretty sure you're right that it's one of the 200 treadwear.
You know
variants.
what, Tom? You don't have to worry about the rules. You just got to drive the car.
Yep.
Woo!
Get in and go.
Oh my goodness! All right, I was getting some serious FOMO when you were planning like cooking and stuff like while you were there, and I'm like, oh man, I'm missing a Tom cookout. This sucks. Yeah. Well, I'll be rooting for you, Tom, and yeah, I'll be.
You too. I'll be rooting for you.
Thank you. You'll be refreshing the URL. I'll be tuning into the live stream to watch you. So make sure that you're posting on like Instagram or in the Discord or something about like when you expect to drive, just so we can all tune into the broadcast to see some Tom O'Gorman wheeling a Corvette.
For sure. The last thing, I don't know if you caught this, but our friend Emil Tab is in Australia for a race at Sydney Motorsports Park this weekend, and it's live streamed. So also make sure that people tune in. I'll share it in the Discord, but it's all on Sunday, I think.
Okay.
And he's doing this endurance race, like a 3-hour endurance race with somebody in a like souped up Miata.
I doubt it's on
in
Sunday.
Australia.
It's probably on Sunday in Australia, but that's probably Saturday here. because Sunday here would be like Monday in Australia.
True. Anyway, whenever you're driving, Emil, good luck, and we'll be watching.
We will try to watch. We don't actually exactly know when it's on, but I'm sure we'll see the replay of it, depending on when it runs. Because let's be honest, Emil, look, we love you, man. We're not tuning in at 3 a.m. That's not happening.
I might.
Okay, Tom will tune in at 3 a.m. I'm going to be sleeping. All right, should we end the show?
Yep.
All right, take it over, Tom.
Okay. Hey, this weekend at Toledo, but also this weekend at Grid Life. I love our hair, and I hope we win.